Hey, what's up? It's Mr. Leonidas here, and as you can tell, I'm doing some advertising for my friend Dane, DKV Arrowhead Sales, and he naps and makes a lot of stone blades, and basically kind of a lot of old, like kind of Indian crafts and whatnot. And I've already been working with some of his blades. I've done earlier videos. I've made used his tomahawk stones, which I think are really excellent pieces. And he's given me some stuff to work with, and I've already made a spear, and that video will be out there. But today I'm gonna make a war axe, a war club variant with the piece that he gave me. There's the stone. It's got the notches in it for the wrapping, and you can tell that you have to slim down the wood a little bit there. I've got artificial sinew I'm using. I've got my TOPS Armageddon. I like to use a large blade knife for my crafts. I think there's a lot of benefits to doing that. And then I've got a piece of hardwood here, roughly a 2-foot long piece, and then I have an old piece of oak that I'm going to use to kind of use that for some batoning, some splitting on this. And that's really all you need is just your bit, your blade. You got to have the piece of wood for it to go into, the wrapping material, and then some kind of knife or edge tool to get the finished product. First step in which I'm going to get started on with like the war axe is this is a piece of wood left over from the spear I made. I think it's a good solid piece. So all I'm going to do is for something this size, I prefer to have it basically skinned or stripped clean of all the bark. So I'm just going to take my Armageddon and then get my gloves on, and then basically I'm just going to get started skinning it. And there's several ways to do this. Just the simple drawing of the knife. You can draw it towards you or away from you. Just depends on kind of the position you're in. Right now, because the way I'm seated, I'm going to be going away from myself. Okay, got the first half of it done right there, and then I'm just gonna continue on. Now I have the piece cleaned up, skinned off, good to go. And now I kind of like how it is like a club style. It's got the smaller profile at the end for the grip, kind of almost a baseball bat kind of idea going on here. So and you can tell I kind of cleaned up the end a little bit and kind of beveled it off just to not make it as rounded and whatnot. So what my plan is to just bevel two sides, so I can and then I'm going to make a my slit, slide my bit in, and so the profile matches. The middle profile is going to match this. So I'm only going to have to work on two sides, kind of make it easier for myself instead of just kind of smoothing out the whole end. Like I said, just the two sides. So that'll make it the work a little easier, and it'll leave some of the weight, to definitely make this kind of actually a useful tool, having the weight. This is the part where you really want to be wearing some gloves. I have it beveled down, and it should be able to slide in there right down through the top when I'm ready. And what I'm doing now is I made a notch at the base for when I split it. I'm going to wrap some sinew at the bottom below where the bit's going to go, so that when I split it, it doesn't split too far. Alright, as you can tell, where I put those notches, I racked almost about an inch kind of at the base of kind of where I'm going to be splitting to put the stone blade in. So let me just go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and split that running that way. So let's split it. I'm going to give it a pretty good split here. As you can tell, I'm a little off. That's okay, I can just slim this one side down a little bit. Okay, I can either move the bit in now. I might do that. Alright. Probably want to wear gloves for that next time. And really, I trust this bit. And I'm going to work it in there, just like that. The blade is seated well, and it's ready to start wrapping. I'm going to start with the traditional X pattern. I'll work my way over one side. Simply rotate onto the other side, back and forth, and I'm gonna repeat this, kind of just getting tighter. And honestly, you know, if you can keep tight on the roll, I've kind of got it with my feet right now, and I'm just gonna keep working tighter and tighter as I go, and just keep working that X pattern back and forth. I've got the X pattern and the top kind of woven kind of as much as I'm going to want it without getting too excessive. I'm just going to start getting kind of the base kind of where it was split, because you want to keep that tightness on the blade, because those two, basically the way it's set in there, the wood is really what's giving it that retention. And then when you tighten it up with this sinew, you're adding to that continued tension. And so once you do that, if you do it successfully, then you shouldn't have, with something primitive like this, it should be able to kind of withstand generally a standard amount of punishment. I pretty much finalized the artificial sinew wrap, and I just want to say, like, I do think this stuff is great, because it seems to be almost like kind of like this mini really thin duct tape, because kind of as I kind of weave it and tighten it and wrap it, it's kind of a little sticky and waxy, so it's kind of sticking to itself, and it just feels like it feels like the real thing. And I think it also looks very authentic as well. So I guess after my experience, after using artificial sinew, I'd have to recommend it. And I think for this club, I am worried about like some hard use on this. I mean, there's not really any play, but I feel like I'm just gonna kind of go over with some actual leather wrap, kind of double reinforce. Honestly, I feel like this turned out more to be kind of like a war club, but man, I think it looks great, and I really like that I did the final leather wrap. I'm glad I had some spare leather just kind of hanging around that I could use. But I think after all in all, it's only fair that I give this some use. So I got like a fresh sapling here, so I'm just gonna kind of start knocking off some branches, I guess. Okay, knock that off pretty easy. And seriously, this stone is sharp. I mean, that's why I wear gloves. Nicked it. All right, as you can tell, still hanging there pretty tight. It's kind of a big weapon to use, or a big tool to use single-handedly. Honestly, it's on this one, you kind of got to get a good hit. I just want to say how impressed I am with the actual stone blades that Dane gave me. So special thanks to him for providing basically kind of the basis of a lot of my a lot of my hobbies. They're definitely the things that got me started on YouTube. But anyway, he's got some really great stuff on the website. So if anyone buys anything off of that website, please feel free to kind of shoot any questions my way if you're kind of, you're interested in kind of working with something but have some questions. Or please, if any of these videos, leave me some good constructive feedback on things that I could add or change and whatnot. And really, like, who makes these videos possible are people who are interested in primitive, kind of primitive pathways and hobbies of our ancestors and people, the Native Americans and other such people like that, who find an interest in such things like that, and that see something beautiful in something so simple, but yet there's just so much work that really goes into all that. It's amazing, I think. But anyway, that's all I've got, and thanks goes to my subscribers and people who watch this.